Hello all my beautiful little unicorns and welcome back to my channel. If this is indeed the first time that you're on my channel, I'm Vanessa Samaina and welcome to the fam. So you guys, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you guys all so much for your support. I cannot believe how many of you guys that there are. We're at 23,000 almost, that is an insane number to me. I know that is like teeny tiny to a lot of people, but to me, it's just like, wow. And my channel has just become such a fabulous space of positivity. And for any of you guys who are new, I just want to welcome you into it with open arms. And I hope you enjoy this space. I hope you find it uplifting. I hope you find it insightful. I hope it makes you really think and give you the motivation to, make the best of your life. So yeah, you guys, just thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. If you are familiar with my videos, then you know that each week I film a weekly reading. So I have 4 groups prepared for you, and I would like you to pick one of these 4 groups intuitively. So just go with your instinct and with whichever mineral resonates the most with you. So regarding the groups, we have the black Tourmaline, we have the Topaz, we have the Lapis Lazuli, as well as the Aventurine. But all the timestamps are linked down below in the description box, so don't worry about looking for where your reading is. You can just click on the timestamp and fast forward to your corresponding reading. And in case you feel drawn to 2 groups, then your personal reading may be a mixture between 2 groups. So feel free to tune into 2 readings if that is the case for you. There's no shame in having a mixture of 2 readings. That way you will just get a more comprehensive understanding of what is going on in your life next week and what is really essential for you to know. And yeah, you guys, as usual, I just want to tell you to subscribe after you've tuned into a reading. And if you truly enjoy my content, for all my beautiful little unicorns who are already subscribed, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, as well as let me know which group you ended up choosing and what really hit home and resonated with you, because I just love hearing your feedback about all of the readings. So yeah, you guys, I wanted to keep the intro very short and simple. For some reason, I have already blabbered so much, so let's get into the readings. I'm gonna start off with group number 1, which corresponds to the black Tourmaline. Welcome, group number 1, to your reading about what's happening in your life next week. So you chose the black Tourmaline. So first and foremost, I want to talk to you about why you may have chosen the black Tourmaline. So aside from the fact that this stone, this mineral, is super kick-ass looking, the black Tourmaline is for any and everybody who needs to protect their energy. It's for anybody who is in public, in a lot of crowds often, or who uses a lot of public transportation, because we all vibrate with different energies, with different frequencies. And it's important for you to know that whenever you get mixed up with other people's energy, it can sort of mess with, what level of energy that you vibrate on. So obviously, if you get mixed up with people who aren't maybe having the best day and vibrating on lower energy, that can affect you. So the black Tourmaline is for anybody who needs energy protection. So group number 1, I want you to take that to heart. Maybe you have not been paying enough attention to protecting your energy, but let's move further into your reading to figure out what's really going on next week. Okay, so group number 1, let's get straight into your reading. So in imagination, I see that it's important for you to use your imagination. Your imagination is something that is essential next week. So maybe you have not tuned into it recently so much, or maybe you kind of feel like it is something that belongs in the past, like in your childhood, you feel like you've kind of outgrown imagining things. But I want you to remember that imagination is where all of the big, creative, cool ideas start, and is where you can truly make changes to your life. So allow yourself to dream, give yourself permission to dream, and believe that you have unlimited possibilities, because the mind is such a powerful tool. The most powerful part of the mind, the part that can process the most information in the least amount of time, is your subconscious. So the more you sort of focus on shaping your subconscious and eliminating any patterns that make you feel like you can't accomplish anything that you set your mind to, the more you get rid of those, the more you'll be able to not only believe in endless possibilities, but you will actually be able to achieve endless possibilities. So moving on in cycles, I see that, everything has its right time, just like you staying in cycles and moving on from cycles. So we're talking about the cycles that you're going through. So let's figure out where exactly we are in your cycles. So I see that you have to honor, the cycles that are going on in your life. And we have justice. So I see that you're definitely seeking balance, you know, as we have balance again in your reading. And justice stands for balance, you know, stands for you sort of making sure that everything is in alignment. So moving on, we have the Queen of Wands, we have the Six of Swords, we have the Magician, we have the Eight of Wands, as well as the Queen of Cups. So group number one, in correlation to your cycles, I definitely see that your cycles may be coming to an end. Well, the current cycle may be coming to an end right now. And it's essential for you to sort of leave the past in the past and to move forward and to not mourn anything that is ending in the current cycle. So your current cycle coming to an end may mean that, you know, there is a relationship coming to an end with it, or a situation, for instance, a schedule that you have every week, or a relationship with a person, something that you've gotten used to, something that has been going on in your life for a little while. But you know, sometimes we need to grow and move on. Well, not sometimes, we always need to grow. And it's important for you to know that moving on means growth, it means change. And the only way that you can truly grow and you can truly expand and become better as a person is through change. So while change can be scary, it's the only way to really accomplish what you truly desire in life. And in balance, I see that you have to relax about it a little bit. So maybe you can feel this cycle that you're in coming to an end. Maybe it's just like making itself noticeable by you having mood swings, by you feeling insecure, by you sort of having this feeling like something is really changing on a deep level. So I want you to know that you have to relax, you have to just let it happen, and you should allow yourself to indulge a little bit. Allow yourself to have, you know, fun times, to have yummy food, to not be so hard on yourself, and set boundaries with your work. Because sometimes even if you align work as well as, you know, the rest of your life, and by the rest of your life I mean, you know, time that you have to spend with friends, families, like indulge in your hobbies, all of that, it's important for you to still make enough time for that, no matter how much you love or hate your job. Balance is something that is important, and it's also very important, I've already mentioned this previously, that you align your work and your life. So work shouldn't be completely different to your life. Your work should resonate with you on a level where you kind of feel like, yes, you know, like this is part of my life and it seamlessly blends in. It's not like I'm 8 hours a day at a workplace that I absolutely hate, and then I come home and the little bit of time that I have left, you know, I'm cleaning up, I'm getting ready for my next day at work, I'm doing laundry. Make sure that it all sort of goes together and makes you feel good. And in anger, I see that maybe you've sort of been flying off the handle easily lately, but I see that you have to use anger as a positive force, and you have to start using negativity as a positive force. So I know it sounds really contradicting, but just think of this way. So a lot of people say, oh, you know, my haters are my motivators. And that is something that I preach 100%. That is something that I feel like you can turn something so negative into something so powerful and positive. And I do this as well. So when I have haters, when I have people who, you know, just feel the need to be mean, to put me down, etc. You know, we've all had that experience, or we're all going through that experience. You need to use this person as a motivator. You need to use this energy as a motivation to say to yourself, I will not succumb to that level. I will not allow my mind to even spend another waking second thinking about that. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to continue growing. I'm going to continue being positive. I'm going to continue being whoever I want to be, doing whatever makes me happy. And what that will do is just give you this halo of positivity, this energy, this drive that makes you feel like the more this person says I can't, or the more this person hates, the more I'm going to do. And what that does to the person who is in that space, at some point they will realize that there is no way that they can bring you down, that there is nothing that can faze you, and they will either move on to the next person, or you will give them this sense of enlightenment where they're like, wow, you know, maybe I should try that. Maybe it wasn't worth it doing this, because obviously this person is thriving and happy and I'm not, and I'm trying to drag this person down. So you can teach lessons while turning anger and hate into something positive. But obviously, you know, the participant must be willing to learn. Often when there are people who are just trying to spread negativity, you often cannot teach them Sometimes you can, but not always. But you know, this reading focuses on you and not on the people who are, you know, trying to do anything negative in your life. So don't worry about that. The most important thing is that you spread love, you spread light and positivity, and that is the most that you can do. In the Queen of Wands, I definitely see, you know, a very sort of soft touch, a very gentle approach to life, as well as your creativity and a lot of renewed creativity sparking. So definitely give yourself time to be creative, give yourself time to develop your new ideas, to develop things that you've always wanted to do. As I can see in the Magician, that you have all of the tools necessary in order to create your dream life. You just need to, you know, get the toolbox out every now and then, maybe put a little bit of new skills in the toolbox, maybe use some old skills, and just, you know, continue using that sort of soft approach when it comes to your creativity and giving yourself the time to just expand, the time to just use your creative energy as you please. And in the Eight of Wands, I see, once again, you know, we're speaking about creativity here. Next week is a creative week for you, and I can see in the Eight of Wands that it's all aligning. It all has this like pool where it's centralized, where, you know, there's just so much energy bubbling. There's just so many cool ideas, and I want you to tap into that next week. I know that you will know exactly when you come to that point where you're like, wow, like I have so many great ideas. I need to write these down. I need to fabricate these ideas into existence, and take the time to do that. Don't let that creative moment pass by, as I can see that with everything that's going on in your reading, this may be a start of something big. Next week, tuning into your creativity may end up starting something that will be with you for a really long time. And in the Queen of Cups, I see, you know, emotionally, you're very giving, you're very loving, you're very kind and caring. So you have really good traits next week. You have really good characteristics, and you have to live them. You have to appreciate them. Know that in the Queen of Cups, people appreciate your open ear. People appreciate your honesty and your advice. So make sure that you don't scrimp on it, and that you speak to as many people as possible and spread as much love as possible next week. So group number 1, that was the reading that I received for you. I hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello group number 2, and welcome to your reading. You chose the Topaz. So group number 2, let us first kind of figure out why you may have chosen the Topaz before we move into your reading about your next week. So the Topaz is for anybody who needs to sort of focus properly, anybody who has been working a lot, who has been burning the midnight oil, who has been burning the candle at both ends, whatever you want to call it, but is not really firing in the right direction. So you have the right idea, you're putting in work, but somehow you're not really getting to where you need to be. So that may be why you chose the Topaz, or maybe just because it is a beautiful stone. Either way, we are moving further into your reading. So we have partnership, polarity, adventure, as well as freedom. So first and foremost, I definitely see for you next week that what would be helpful would be to pair up with a lot of people, to communicate properly, to collaborate. So partnership can obviously be teamwork with a partner, with a romantic partner. It can be teamwork with somebody who you have a relationship with. Either way, it's important for you to team up with people who you find trustworthy, from who you get good vibes and good energy, and know that that way you can build a really good support team. That way you have a support team that is there for you when you need them, and that you can be there for, because you know you vibe on the same level. And you have to nurture that, because sometimes it can be so easy to have like a good group of friends, a good handful of friends, and you know that they're really good friends, but you just don't keep in contact enough. And I see that that is something that you may have to do to sort of get your focus back on track, because even if work and what you're trying to achieve is completely unrelated to your friendships, it can affect you when you're like, oh, you know, like I should be texting so-and-so, I should be staying in contact, but I'm not really. It kind of like makes you emotionally a little bit uneasy. And in polarity, I see that you have to integrate, you know, polar opposites. So just like your light side, you need to integrate your shadow side. So your shadow side does not mean your bad side. It's just the side that you're maybe not so fond of, that you maybe feel are negative traits. So for instance, if somebody finds, you know, them being super caring or super nurturing, Some people may be like, oh, you know, I'm always so mothering to my boyfriend and I don't like that. So to that person, that is their shadow side, but to somebody else, that could be a light side. So know that you have to nurture the shadow sides. Your shadow side is completely subjective, and it is just what you think is one of your lesser traits. It doesn't have to be the case for somebody else. So you have to understand the importance of polarity and understand how essential it is to embrace both sides. And in adventure, I see that you have to dare to do things differently. You have to dare to be different again. So maybe you've always known that you're kind of different, but you've tried to fit in recently just to sort of keep the peace and just to make sure that you don't hear any nasty comments, or you don't have to face anybody, you know, telling you things that you don't want to hear. And that's fine. Sometimes you need to protect your energy and sometimes you need to protect yourself as a person. But I definitely see that next week it is essential for you to get out of that comfort zone again and to travel to different places, meaning different comfort zones as well as actual physical places. So take time to, you know, go to a new part of town, go to a new place, plan a vacation, make sure that you expand and that you are always open for adventure. And in freedom, I can see that you need to explore freedom. So while we have adventure and freedom, this just screams to me that you need to unleash next week. You need to let yourself sort of feel what it's like to just let go, to just not be constantly consumed with thoughts on your mind that are doing nothing but causing worries. So make sure that you choose to be free. Make sure that you reclaim your independence and that you truly, you know, value it and put it at the forefront. And we have death next in your reading, so please don't freak out. You know, death is all about a cycle ending. It's all about a rebirth. It's all about you sort of moving on from the current situation into a new situation, as painful as it may be and as much as it may feel like a death. So group number 2, do you know how like people say, for instance, a divorce is like a death? So I want you to see it as that kind of death, like the ending of an era, the ending of something that you were so used to and, you know, you put a lot of love into and you really appreciated it. But at one point, sometimes things need to come to an end. Depending on what it is, you know, some things have a shelf life, they have an expiration date. Other things can last forever, but either way, there are endings that are super painful. So I definitely see that next week you have to come to terms with that. And in the Wheel of Fortune, I see a lot of possibility. I see that the wheel is being sort of respun. So if you feel like life has been a little bit like mediocre or boring, or like you need more adventure, more of the wow factor, just know that next week your wheel of life is going to be spun again, and then you're going to be able to choose a new direction, a different direction. In the Two of Cups, I see, you know, good relationship energy, good energy for you to strike a deal with somebody, to start a new relationship, to sort of redefine your relationship. So make sure that you take time to nurture your relationships, as I already mentioned in the partnerships, and that you truly, you know, like tell people how you feel. Tell them like, hey, like I would really like to spend more time with you, or I really value our friendship. So definitely take time to have a one-on-one dates, so to say, you know, as I see in the Two of Cups, the two duality, you and somebody else, you and maybe a polar opposite. So make sure that you take time to spend that quality one-on-one time, as I see that that is something that you will profit from a lot more than being in a large group. And in the Star, you have to dream, okay? Group number 2, we're going to get right into it, but you have to dream a little more. And then we have the Knight of Cups as well as the Two of Swords. So I definitely see in the Two of Swords that you have to go with your intuition, that there is no further information going to be fed to you next week about decisions that you must make in a timely manner. You cannot wait it out forever. You have to go with that intuition and you have to make a choice. So I definitely see some sort of choice that is needing instinct, that is needing your gut feeling. And in the Star, I see that one thing that you must never give up, especially next week, is hope. So something may strike you next week, or it may have to do with your shadow side, with a side of you that you don't really like. So maybe you're very prone to being obsessive. Maybe you're prone to relapsing or to being a little bit more angry than you should be. And in the Star, I definitely see that you have to like not give up hope with all of the sides of yourself that you're maybe not so so happy with, because it is possible for you to be content. It's possible for you to move forward a better person and somebody that you yourself like a lot better. As I can see in the Knight of Cups, that controlling your emotions is something that may take a little bit of power, that may take a little bit of you going out of your way, but it is so valuable and is something that will fill you up with a lot more love and make you more approachable to other people. So group number 2, definitely focus on your shadow sides and exploring them, and never give up hoping or dreaming. So group number 2, that is the reading that I received for you. I hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful, and I will see you in my next video. Hello group number 3, and welcome to your reading about your next week. So you chose the Lapis Lazuli. So group number 3, first and foremost, let's speak about why you may have chosen the Lapis Lazuli. Apart from the fact that this is a gorgeous stone and you may have some sort of personal relationship to it, the Lapis Lazuli is for anybody who needs to ascend to their rightful throne. So if you are a woman, I want you to ascend to the rightful throne that belongs to you, which is the throne that makes you feel like a goddess. And if you are a man, I want you to ascend to your rightful throne next week that makes you feel like you are a king, like you are a beautiful person who is deserving of love, kindness, as well as success. So group number 3, I kind of feel like you need a little pick-me-up to give you motivation and to remind you of who you truly are. So let's move further into your reading. So we have friendship, we have the goddess, we have receive, as well as the healer. So group number 3, what I see instinctively with you is that you have to receive any sort of positivity, and I want you to remember that if you're sort of somebody who gets nervous or anxious when it has to do with meeting up with people or sort of making new friends or even contacting friends that you currently have, because you're sort of like, do they still like me? Do they not like me? I want you to know that it's important for you to be open to receiving goodness and open to receiving, you know, the friendship, but at the same time, you need to think positively of them, because the universe always does this thing where if you think negatively about your relationships or about somebody, then that will just polarize the negative energy and they will actually start feeling that way. So I want you to just think positively of anybody who is in your life, of any friend that you have, whether you're sure if they still really love you or not, whether you've spoken in a long time or not. Make sure that there is a gift in being open and loving to everybody and anybody, and the gift is that you will be reciprocated with love. You will be reciprocated with communication, openness, and people sort of showing you that they care. So in the healer, I see that you have powerful healing gifts, group number 3, and next week you have to make sure that you keep your faith in your abilities. So as I already mentioned in the Lapis Lazuli, I feel like you may need a little bit of a pick-me-up. You may need a little bit of a, hey, you're really cool. Hey, like you can still do this. You should not lose faith or hope. So in healer, I definitely want you to know that you must have faith in your abilities and you have to make use of them so you can heal yourself. You have to stay true to your path as your healer and never stray from it. Never count on anybody else to heal you. Never count on anyone else to make you feel better, because there is no guarantee that they will get there in time when you need them to make you feel better. So be your biggest cheerleader. Be that person for yourself that you can rely on to make you feel good in any given situation, because sometimes you need an instant boost of confidence. Sometimes you need an instant pick-me-up. As for instance, if you're going on a date or for a job interview, or there's a really, really important like business convention, you have to be your biggest cheerleader that can like turn yourself on like that. And you're like, yes, I can do this. I'm confident. I got this. So keep that in mind, group number 2. And in friendship, I see that you have to seek out your soul family. You have to surround yourself with positive people, as well as to spend more time next week socializing. So as I already mentioned about friends that you may have not seen for a long time, group number 3, I feel like maybe you have to call them up. You have to send them a text. You have to be the one initiating meeting up, because maybe that makes you feel uncomfortable, or as I said, you're not 100% sure, like, are we still friends? Are we not friends? And that can make the situation weird. You're like, should I text them? Should I not text them? Just do it. the worst that can happen is not getting an answer, which is an answer actually, or then them saying that they don't have time and maybe reschedule or whatever. But either way, there's nothing bad that can really happen. But all the goodness that you can get from it is a renewed spark in your relationship, is you sort of feeling the love, you spending time socializing and truly connecting with people, you know, being with your soul family and the people that make you feel good. And in Goddess, I see that you have to honor your divine feminine energy. So whether you are a guy, a girl, whoever you identify as, you have to remember that you have this sort of goddess feminine energy. Okay, we all have feminine energy to a certain extent, and it's important for you to see it as inner beauty, to see that that part of you is a very soft, kind, nurturing part, or has the potential to be that, and also has the potential to be like the strongest part of you possible. So, you know, when you see single mothers, when you see women at the top of the food chain doing the thing, being super successful, and you're like, how does she do this? That is the kind of feminine energy that I want you to honor. That is the kind of kick-ass energy that I want you to love and let be a part of you. So let's move further into your reading. We have the Hermit, we have the Fool, we have the Nine of Cups, the Three of Cups, we have the Nine of Pentacles, as well as the Emperor. You guys, fun fact, I always used to say Emperor because like I speak German too as like a second first language, so to say. So I always said it wrongly and people always came for me in the comment section about it, but I know how to say it now, the Emperor. Anyways, in the Emperor, I can see that what you have to do is take charge of your life again. You have to be the one leading yourself in the direction that you want to go into. So as I said, you need to pick me up, and you also need to be reminded that you are the emperor of your life. You are the king, the queen of your life, and you say how the kingdom is ruled and what goes on in the kingdom. And it is completely your right, and I do not want you to let anybody tell you otherwise. As I can see in the Nine of Cups, that one thing that you may be struggling with, and one thing that may be sort of not very healthy for your inner emperor, is the fact that the accomplishments and achievements, the things that you feel like you should be doing and the things that you feel like will make you feel happy and successful, are they truly things that you want and will make you feel happy and successful, or is it what society has set out for you to think that you want, or is it what your family has set out for you to think that you want? So that is something that needs reconsideration, as I can see that the universe wants you to bask in joy and light. The universe wants you to celebrate and sort of have a time where your relationships are at the top and you're not worried about sort of your dreams and aspirations putting anybody off that you are close with. So definitely have that chat if you need to with, say, your mother, your brother, your partner, and tell them like, look, I kind of feel a certain way about you and my dreams, my aspirations. I feel like you don't support them, or like you feel like I should be doing this or that. And but this is how I feel about it, and this is what would make me happy. And at the end of the day, happiness is all that counts. So if you need to have that talk, have that talk, as I see that you do like to satisfy other people and you do like the finer things in life, but sometimes you need to ask yourself, what is it really doing for you to satisfy other people, and who are you really pleasing, you know? So it's super important for you to take time to reevaluate where your priorities lie and what it is that you want to accomplish and why you're trying to accomplish it. We always need to constantly ask ourselves, why am I doing this? To impress somebody else, to make somebody else happy, or to fuel my own happiness? And in the Hermit, I can see that you have to take time to think, you have to take time to recharge, but don't become too reclusive, as that can make you so withdrawn to the point where, you know, you lose out on time with family members, with friends, with people who are close to you, and that can damage relationships. So find a good balance of alone time as well as time with other people, and know that, you know, the Hermit is here to let you know that alone time can be very soothing, it can be very therapeutic, and it's something that we all need. And last but not least, we have the Fool. So group number 3 in the Fool, I definitely want you next week to take on beginner energy, take on fresh, cool, zesty energy, and don't say no to things. just sort of see things with fresh eyes and do things like you're doing them for the first time. So if somebody asks you to go to a new restaurant or there's something new that you want to try out, just sort of see it with a unbiased view. See it as, you know, I can just do this. So that is, for instance, how I started card reading. I knew nothing about it, absolutely zero. I did not know how much time it would take to learn this craft. I did not know, you know, what was expected, but I just started and I went in with that full energy. And today I know that, you know, that was the best decision ever, as it allowed me to learn in a very unbiased way and to develop my own style and skill set. So group number 3, make sure that you do the same for yourself, because you're worth it. You owe it to yourself. Group number 3, I hope you enjoyed your reading and I hope you found it insightful, and I will see you in my next video. Hello group number 4, and welcome to your reading about your next week. So you chose the Aventurine. So first and foremost, group number 4, let's talk about why you may have chosen the Aventurine, aside from the fact that this is a gorgeous mineral and you may have a personal relationship to it. Who knows? But regardless of that, you may have also chosen the Aventurine because you need to show off your sparkle and you need to remind yourself that you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, and you're somebody who deserves to shine. So if you feel like any situation or anybody has been dimming your shine and you feel like you haven't been able to give yourself, you know, that proper polish where you're all sparkly again for a long time, that may be why you've chosen the Aventurine. Or, you know, the universe just wants you to shine even more if you feel like you've already been shining. But either way, we want you to shine, shine, shine. So let's move on. We have intention, we have support, we have leadership, as well as rebirth. Group number 4, what I see for you is that you have to be really clear and decisive next week. So there may be bigger decisions in your life, for instance, on how you spend, you know, big chunks of your money, what you're going to do in your career, what you're going to further do with your education. So you have to think in a very clear way, in a very decisive way, and you have to know that you must focus on what you truly want and not what anybody else wants. So make sure that you're very bold and true to yourself, no matter who that upsets, because if you're sort of doing things that are not 100% for you, it'll be hard to manifest, it'll be hard to truly set intentions and accomplish things. So make sure that, you know, all eyes are on you and that you let your goals, your dreams, your aspirations truly allow you to become yourself and sparkle however you feel necessary. And in support, I see that it's okay for you to ask for help. And next week, you may want to ask somebody close to you for help. Either way, you have to nurture yourself. You have to rest. You have to take a little bit of time also to help yourself. So if you feel like your schedule has been so overcrowded and there's just been so much going on in your life, then obviously it is time for you to allow yourself to rest. Give yourself permission to rest and help yourself. Tell yourself, like, girl, you got bags under your eyes and they're not designer, they're not cute in any way, shape, or form. You gotta rest, you gotta take some time out, and sometimes you have to do that for yourself. So make sure that you stick to that and make sure that you're very conscious and very intentional of the rest that you take and the time out that you make. So in the leadership, I definitely see that you have to step into your leadership next week. You have to lead in whichever situation you find necessary. So that could be a project in school, that could be a project at your work. It could also be you just sort of leading your life, you know, where your love life goes, your emotional well-being. So know that you have to also share your message, as that will inspire other people. And I always find that people who are inspired, empowered, people who are confident, you sort of have a duty to share your message. You have a duty to inspire that next person, because chances are somebody inspired you. Something made you feel like, yes, you know, I'm a boss. I'm somebody who can get anything done. So whenever you feel inspired like that, make sure that you create a domino effect. Make sure that you give back into the universe, as you know, that will allow you to inspire and empower others and just create an overall better vibe and surrounding. And in rebirth, I see that reinventing yourself is essential. You have to allow yourself next week to come into whoever it is that you want to be once you have fully acknowledged what your intentions in life are and what it is that you want to be doing. So make sure that in rebirth, you know, you give life to your dreams, you give oxygen to your dreams, and that you know that you create your reality. So leadership as well as rebirth, it's very clear that you need to remember that you shape your reality, you shape your life. So in leadership, you know, you have to take lead of shaping, creating, and just being the person that you've always wanted to be. So we have the Five of Pentacles, we have the Ace of Wands, we have the Page of Cups, we have the Hierophant, the Lovers, as well as the King of Swords. So I definitely see infatuation next week, okay? Infatuation with one of your relationships. It could be a romantic relationship, it can be a platonic relationship, but I definitely see strengthening that bond is something that is amazing. But I also see that there may be an air of temptation next week. So maybe you're in a relationship or you're seeing somebody and you know you're tempted to stray, or you're tempted to talk to somebody that you know you maybe should not be talking to. And you know, at the same time, in your relationships that are platonic, you may be tempted to sort of, you know, start an argument. You may be tempted to say things that you know you shouldn't necessarily be saying. So I definitely see that you have to watch out next week, as there is an air of temptation for things that are not necessarily positive there. And in the King of Swords, I see that you have to give yourself a little bit of time to rethink your words before you speak. So you know how people always say, think before you speak? Group number 4, that is something that you truly need to do next week. It's something that you have to look into. So maybe recently you haven't been paying attention to how you're talking to people, or you feel like you're just being really honest and truthful, but at the same time, you're also hurting people. You're also, you know, telling people things in a way that they maybe didn't need to hear it. So please reconsider, group number 4, how you speak to people, and make sure that you're always considering other people's feelings and emotions, no matter what it's about, because people can be a lot more sensitive than you realize. So while you can maybe take the way you're speaking to people, they can't necessarily always cope with it. And in the Hierophant, I definitely see, you know, leadership qualities there. I definitely see, apart from the fact that we already have leadership in your reading, I see that it is time for self-discovery. It is time for you to lead yourself as well as other people. So inspire other people, and if you feel like there's something that has changed your life for the better, make sure that you preach it, make sure that you let people know, and that you're that person who has that encouraging aura that people can come to. As the Hierophant, you know, just stands for that. It stands for somebody who can lead a community in a more positive direction. And in the Page of Cups, just go with the flow with your relationships. So as I already mentioned, you may want to consider how you speak to people, but overall next week, go with the flow. Let yourself be sort of like drifted with the water, you know, don't make specific plans. Be very spontaneous with who you hang out with who you speak to. And also, you know, just pick up your phone and just text somebody just because you love them. Text your mom, text your brother, your sister, your husband, I don't know. But just be spontaneous with your relationships and know that next week, you know, things are just in calm, beautiful waters. And in the Five of Pentacles, I see that something next week can cause you a little bit of anxiety, or a little bit of a feeling where you feel hurt, you feel like crying, but you need to know that usually support is right around the corner. So as we had in your reading earlier, you have support, and that situation that makes you feel out of touch and sad and, you know, like being really emotional, make sure that you go to your mom's house. Make sure that you go to whoever you know will support you and whoever you know will sort of make you feel better about yourself, because sometimes it can be easier to just wallow in sorrow, because sometimes it can just be easier to wallow in sadness and be alone and all by ourselves rather than opening up. But you need to remember that you're not a burden, and you're not going to make other people feel bad, because they're here for a reason. They're here to help you, to support you, to uplift you, and you have to be open and you have to speak to the people who are here to make you feel better. And in the Ace of Wands, I see that there is a new sort of flame next week. While things are sort of going well for you in the earthly realms, while things are going with the flow with your relationships, even though you do have a little personal situation where you feel, you know, down and you just need like a little bit of a pick-me-up, I definitely see that when it comes to your creativity, when it comes to your ideas, your intentions, your dreams, I definitely see a spark there. I see something just coming up and you being like, wow, this is such a cool new idea, let me grab that. And that is a good idea group number 4. If you come up with a cool idea next week, make sure that you follow through with it, that you inform yourself about what you could do with the idea, as I see that that is something that may be with you for a lot longer than just next week. So group number 4, that is the reading that I received for you for your next week. I hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful, and I will see you in my next reading.